I think the biggest mistake people make in 2026 is assuming that a cheaper phone means a worse phone. Because honestly, the mid-range smartphone market has changed completely. A few years ago, buying a mid-range phone meant accepting compromises, average cameras, slow performance, cheap materials, weak software support. You always knew you were buying something below flagship level. But now, that line is disappearing because companies are taking features that used to belong only to $1,000 phones and putting them into devices that cost hundreds less. Better displays, flagship processors, huge batteries, AI features, premium designs, and the crazy part? Some of these phones are actually smarter purchases than expensive flagships. So today, we're looking at the 10 best mid-range phones you can buy in half 2026, not just based on specs, but based on something more important. What is it actually like to live with these phones every single day? Which one gives you the best value? Which one has the biggest compromises? And most importantly, which phone deserves your money? So, let's start with number 10. Starting the list with the Samsung Galaxy A37. And this phone represents something Samsung has become extremely good at, making a phone that just works. The Galaxy A37 is not trying to shock you. It's not trying to be a gaming monster. It's not trying to have the biggest camera numbers. Instead, it focuses on reliability, and honestly, that matters. For around the $450 price range, Samsung gives you something many competitors still struggle with: long-term support. 6 years of software updates is a huge advantage. Because buying a phone isn't just about how it feels today. It's about how it feels 2, 3, even 5 years later. And Samsung's One UI experience continues to improve. The interface feels polished, the design language feels consistent, and the overall experience feels mature. The hardware also receives some important upgrades. The Exynos 1480 chipset handles daily tasks easily. Social media, streaming, multitasking, productivity, everything feels smooth. But this is not a gaming-focused phone. Push it into heavy 3D games and you'll quickly see where the limits are. And that's okay, because this phone isn't built for that audience. The 6.7-inch AMOLED display is one of the highlights. 120 Hz refresh rate, great colors, smooth scrolling, and combined with the 5,000 mAh battery, it becomes a very comfortable entertainment device. The camera system is also reliable. The 50-megapixel main camera handles everyday photos well. Not the most exciting camera here, but consistent, and consistency matters. Who should buy the Galaxy A37? Someone who wants a phone they can keep for years, a reliable device, a clean software experience, and the peace of mind that comes with Samsung support. Now moving to number 9, the iPhone 17e. And honestly, this is probably the most logical budget iPhone Apple has made. Because for years, Apple's cheaper phones always felt like compromises. They were powerful, but they often missed features people actually wanted. The iPhone 17e changes that. The biggest improvement? MagSafe. And yes, that sounds like a small feature. But once you start using MagSafe accessories, chargers, wallets, stands, battery packs, it becomes something you actually appreciate. Inside, Apple gives you the A19 chipset, the same processor family found in the more expensive iPhone 17. This is where Apple has always been strong. The performance. The phone feels fast today, and it will probably feel fast years from now. That's the advantage of Apple Silicon. Storage also improves with 256 gigabytes standard, and the Ceramic Shield 2 protection adds extra durability. For someone entering the Apple ecosystem, this is a very attractive option, but it's not perfect. The camera system still has compromises. No ultra-wide camera. And charging speeds are still behind many Android competitors. But the real value here is longevity. This is a phone designed to stay useful for years. Who should buy the iPhone 17e? Someone who wants an affordable iPhone experience without feeling like they bought the cheap version. At number 8, the best mid-range phone for AI features, the Samsung Galaxy A57. And this phone shows how quickly mid-range devices are evolving. because features that used to be exclusive to flagship phones are now becoming normal. The biggest example? The AI. Samsung is bringing more intelligent features into its affordable lineup, and that makes the A57 feel more future-proof. The design is also a big improvement. Slimmer body, premium feeling. Only 6.9 millimeters thickness, and with IP68 protection. It finally feels closer to flagship durability. Inside, the Exynos 1680 chipset gives you a solid performance boost. It's not a gaming beast. You're still better off choosing something like Red Magic or Poco if gaming is your priority. But for normal use, it's more than enough. The larger vapor chamber also helps keep performance stable, and again, Samsung's biggest advantage appears: software support, 6 years of updates, one UI experience, and long-term reliability. The Galaxy A57 is not the most exciting phone on this list, but it might be one of the smartest. So, who should buy it? Someone who wants Samsung quality, without paying flagship money. Now with number 7, things start getting interesting, because the Poco X8 Pro Max is here for one reason: the performance. This phone does not care about being elegant. It does not care about being subtle. It wants speed. And honestly, that's exactly why people love Poco. The Dimensity 9500's processor is incredibly powerful, combined with 12 gigabytes of RAM. This phone feels like a flagship in many situations. Gaming performance is where it shines. Heavy games, high settings, long sessions. The Poco handles it confidently, and the 683-inch AMOLED display with 120 Hz refresh rate is also excellent. Bright, smooth, immersive, and the stereo speakers add even more to the experience. But the biggest surprise, the battery. An 8500 mAh battery in a mid-range phone is insane. Combined with 100-watt charging, battery anxiety basically disappears. However, there are compromises. Software is not as polished. There is more bloatware, and update support is behind Samsung and Google. So this phone is not for everyone. But if your priority is power, this is one of the strongest options available. Who should buy the Poco X8 Pro Max? Gamers, power users, and anyone who wants maximum performance for the money. Now moving to number 6, the best mid-range phone for camera lovers, the Xiaomi 17T. And this is where the mid-range category starts becoming seriously competitive, because Xiaomi is slowly changing the idea of what a mid-range phone should be. The 17T is not just about saving money. It feels like Xiaomi is trying to bring flagship experiences into a lower price category. And the biggest upgrade this year? The cameras. The 17T finally gives you something many phones in this range still avoid: a real telephoto camera. You get a 50-megapixel main camera, a 50-megapixel 5S telephoto lens, and a 12-megapixel ultra-wide. And honestly, that changes how you use the phone, because suddenly you're not limited to just taking normal photos. You can capture portraits, distant subjects, different perspectives, and more creative shots. The main camera performs very well. Colors look vibrant, details are strong, and dynamic range is impressive. The telephoto lens is easily the star of the show. The ability to zoom properly without destroying image quality is something you usually expect from much more expensive phones. Battery life is another strong point. The 6500 mAh battery gives you confidence throughout the day. Heavy usage, no problem. Most people will comfortably finish the day with battery left. Charging is also fast with 67-watt wired charging. Although, at this price point, the lack of wireless charging is disappointing, especially when some competitors are starting to include it. Performance is also excellent. The Dimensity 8500 Ultra paired with 12 gigabytes of RAM handles everyday tasks easily. Everything feels smooth, everything feels fast. But there are some compromises. The plastic back feels slightly disappointing considering how close this phone gets to flagship pricing. Still, for someone who wants great cameras and strong battery life. The Xiaomi 17T is one of the most interesting choices here, so who should buy the Xiaomi 17T? The camera-focused users who want versatility without paying flagship prices. At number 5, we have the best battery and performance combination. Now we're getting into the phones that almost feel unfair for the price. The OnePlus 15R, and honestly, this phone follows the classic OnePlus formula. give people the things they actually notice: speed, battery, smooth software, and a premium experience. The biggest highlight is performance, powered by the Snapdragon 8 Gen 5. This phone is extremely powerful. For daily use, it feels effortless. Apps open instantly. Multitasking is easy. Gaming performance is excellent. But where it really separates itself is battery life. The 7400 mAh silicon carbon battery is massive. And this is the type of battery that changes your relationship with a phone. You stop thinking about charging. You stop carrying a power bank, you simply use the device. With 80-watt charging also makes topping up incredibly fast. A short charge can give you hours of usage. The software experience is another big advantage. Oxygen OS remains one of the cleanest Android experiences available. Fast, simple, and refined. However, there are compromises. The telephoto camera from previous generations is gone, and some people may miss that extra versatility. The design is also less unique compared to competitors, and there is no wireless charging. But if your priorities are performance, battery, speed, and smooth software, the OnePlus 15R is incredibly easy to recommend. So, who should buy this phone? Anyone who wants flagship performance and insane battery life without paying flagship money. At number 4, the Honor 600. And honestly, this phone proves one thing: mid-range phones are becoming ridiculous. Because the display here is absolutely crazy. A 6.57-inch AMOLED panel with 120 Hz refresh rate and brightness levels that compete with expensive flagship phones. The screen is simply beautiful. Colors are rich. Contrast is excellent. Outdoor visibility is incredible. Even under direct sunlight, you never feel like you're fighting the display. And that matters, because a great screen changes everything you do. Watching videos, editing photos, scrolling, gaming, everything feels better. The design also deserves attention. Honor clearly took inspiration from premium phones, and while some people may call that familiar, there is no denying that it feels great in the hand, and the camera system is another major strength. The 200-megapixel main camera produces impressive results. Details are strong, colors look good, and the processing feels mature. The battery has also improved. 6400 mAh gives excellent endurance, but there are still some limitations: no wireless charging, and Magic OS still comes with some extra apps that some users may want to clean up. Still, for anyone who wants the brightest and most impressive display possible, the Honor 600 is one of the best choices, and anyone who wants a flagship-level screen without the flagship price. Now we reach the top 3, and this is where things get interesting, because the Nothing Phone 4a is not trying to win by having the biggest numbers. It wins by feeling different. And honestly, that's rare. In a world where most smartphones look almost identical, Nothing still creates phones with personality. The updated glyph system is more refined this year. The glyph bar gives notifications a unique visual identity, and the overall design feels futuristic without becoming too complicated. But the real magic is software. Nothing OS continues to be one of the cleanest Android experiences available. It feels simple, fast, thoughtful, almost like Android designed with the same philosophy Apple uses. Remove unnecessary things, keep what matters. The display is also excellent. A 6.83 inches, with 1.5K resolution, and 4500 nits peak brightness. Smooth, bright, beautiful. The camera system is also impressive. The 50-megapixel main camera produces natural colors. Not exaggerated, not fake, just balanced. The biggest weakness? Performance. The Snapdragon 7S Gen 4 is good, but it doesn't feel like a huge leap. Heavy gamers will want more. But for everyday users, it's completely fine. Who should buy the Nothing Phone 4a? Anyone tired of boring smartphone designs and wanting something different? At number 2, the best software experience, the Google Pixel 9a. And this phone represents something Google does better than almost anyone: making a phone feel smart. The Pixel 9a is not about showing off. It's about getting the basics right. The display is excellent. Smooth 120 Hz refresh rate, great colors, comfortable size. Performance is also strong thanks to the Tensor G4 chip. And while it's not built for extreme gaming, it handles normal tasks easily. But the real reason people buy Pixel phones is simple: The software, clean Android, fast updates, smart AI features, and 7 years of support. That's almost impossible to ignore. The camera experience is also excellent. The 48-megapixel main camera produces some of the most reliable photos in this category. Point and shoot. Get great result. The selfie camera and ultrawide also perform well. The only major complaints? No telephoto camera, slow 23-watt charging, and the design is a little too simple for some people. But if you want a phone that just works, the Pixel 9a is extremely difficult to beat. Who should buy the Pixel 9a? Anyone who wants the cleanest Android experience and amazing photos. And finally, number 1, the best mid-range phone overall, the Samsung Galaxy S25 FE. And honestly, this is the phone that makes the most sense for the biggest number of people. Because Samsung finally fixed what made previous fan edition phones disappointing. The S25 FE feels like a true flagship experience at a lower price. The build quality is excellent. The 6.7-inch display is beautiful. Performance from the Snapdragon 8 Elite is powerful. And the 5,000 mAh battery delivers reliable endurance. The camera system may not be as exciting as some competitors, but the 50-megapixel main camera gets the important things right. Good photos, reliable results, easy sharing. And then there's the biggest Samsung advantage, the software. One UI 8 and 7 years of updates. Make it a mature ecosystem. This is what separates Samsung from many competitors. The S25 FE may not be the cheapest, and it may not win every category, but it delivers the most complete package. And that's why it takes the number 1 spot. So who should buy the Galaxy S25 FE? Anyone who wants the closest thing to a flagship experience without paying flagship prices. In the end, after looking at all 10 phones, the biggest takeaway is simple. The mid-range market is no longer about compromise. It's about choosing what matters most to you. Need gaming power? Poco. Need cameras? The Xiaomi. Need clean software? Pixel or nothing? Need battery? The OnePlus. Sure. Need the most complete experience? The Samsung. And honestly, that's the best thing that happened to smartphone buyers. Because there has never been more choice. The best phone is not always the most expensive one. It's the one that fits your life. If you enjoyed this kind of deep tech breakdown, consider subscribing. More phones, laptops, and honest reviews are coming. And tell me in the comments, which phone from this list would you actually buy in 2026? Thanks for watching, and see you later.